Welcome to our Facebook Live press release. We have some exciting news and some exciting guests here that have joined eXp Realty in our national growth here as a company. We're very excited to introduce in this phone call Rami Danoa. He is the owner of his own brokerage, New York Real Estate Experts, now brokered or powered by eXp Realty, and David Upchurch with David Upchurch Real Estate. And David Upchurch is in Charlotte. He had his own brokerage. He's very, very well respected here. I'm also in Charlotte. So David Upchurch was looking at the eXp platform, saw the benefits for taking his own brokerage and plugging it into the eXp model that we have here. And everybody knows who David Upchurch is in Union County, a county right outside of uptown Charlotte. And when we were talking about this, it was a big, big move for him. He was going from 100% minus his expenses to plug into the eXp model to get tools and scalability and technology. And we spent several weeks with each other. And he actually decided to come over to eXp a couple months ago and bring his team. Just to give you an idea of his volume, in 2017, he did 114 transactions, totaling $36 million of real estate sold. 2018 already, which we're only 3 quarters in, he is at 141 transactions and $48 million of production. The good thing is that when you get big fish like David Upchurch in the real estate market, they typically know other big fish, which is where Rami Danoa comes into this. He had his own brokerage in New York, and he was talking to David from their decades of connections and decided to plug in too. So hence the entire Facebook Live broadcast here. I want to introduce both of them. So I'm going to turn it over to David Upchurch. I've been here a year. My name is Rich Tomasini. Some of you guys know me on this thing. I sell real estate up in Lake Norman. I brought my $43 million team over here a year ago. There was only 3 of us in my little zip code. Now there's 340 of us in 7 states. And these are my 2 partners in growing eXp here on the East Coast. So David, thanks for coming. And I'd like to, first of all, have you welcome in Rami and maybe kind of just go over why you decided to plug into eXp. What was the catalyst of that? What was your value proposition to make such a bold move? And then in addition to that, what is your vision through eXp for your brokerage and for your personal life as well?
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Rich. You know, I was just listening to you talk about the volume that the 3 of us do with our teams. It's pretty impressive. Sometimes when you're in the grind, you kind of stop to forget and really look at the numbers and see how well we're doing. And a lot of that has to do with relationships, right? You know, when you reach out to me and talk to me about eXp, I'm not ashamed to say that I didn't want anything to do with it, right? I didn't want to listen to it. I didn't want to hear it. I'm killing it on my side, doing my own independent brokerage. I was with RE/MAX. I've been with KW. I've been independent for a couple of years. I've been killing it. I don't want to hear anything about eXp until I finally listen to you. And then when I finally sat down and listened to you, I really started seeing the benefits to not just me as the independent owner of the brokerage, but to everybody that's on my team and my organization that has allowed me to hit that 140 some sales year to date. David's not out selling 140 homes so far year to date. David's got a team that's doing that. And I needed to make sure that what we were doing, and if I was going to make a move over to eXp, that it had to benefit them as well. And they had to buy in. And when I explained it to them, they were all good. And so far, about 4 months in, we're all super excited. We grow, see technology that's able to help us sell even more homes, hopefully next year. But the main reason that Rumi's here is because Rumi's been a good friend of mine for a while, realtor friend of mine. I met him about, I don't know, maybe 6, 7, 8 years ago. Mad respect for him. Our business model, our businesses are very similar. So whenever he's having issues, he calls me. Whenever I'm having issues, I call him. And I called Rumi and I said, listen, man, I'm really honestly thinking about doing this. And either one, I need you to talk me off this ledge and back me off this cliff because I'm getting ready to jump, or I want you to jump with me. And I wanted somebody other than, no disrespect, Rich, I wanted somebody other than Rich to really look at this from a third side and tell me if what I was seeing and envisioning could be, how could they be in my team? Was that real, or was that me just, being sold by Rich, right? And it took Rummy, 3 or 4 or 5 days. We were really back and forth. And the next thing you know, he says, dude, jump. And I'm jumping with you. And so I don't know if I ever told you this, Rummy, but I appreciate that, because I have a lot of respect for you as a person and as an owner of your real estate franchise. So let me talk a little bit about Rummy. Right, Rummy's killing it as well. Also with KW for a while. He left a little sooner than I did. I think you left, what, 2013, Rummy?
Yeah, 2013.
He left KW, went out and opened up his own independent franchise, New York Real Estate Experts. They've been killing it as well, growing and growing. 2017, 90 transactions, almost 35 million, or just under 35 million. Year to date, you're at almost 75 transactions, just under 35 million. So you've almost have done more numbers this year, just like me, than year to date than you did in 2017. So again, you're killing it. You don't really, I don't want to say don't need eXp, but you definitely were hitting the numbers that you wanted to hit. So tell everybody why was this a good move for you and your team?
Yeah, thank you for having me on, guys. First of all, exciting news that we finally onboarded and we are on eXp. And as you can see, the 2 chairs are there. The cloud real estate, global real estate cloud brokerage. And that's what really, when I seen this picture, I'm like, boom, I got to put it up. And that's what it is about. It was really about when I left my last company and started New York Real Estate Experts, we reached a plateau, and I'm like, okay, I gotta grow, I gotta do something else, right? Where do I go after this? Because I'm an entrepreneur, I want to make more money and do more things. So the first step was obviously go out there, look at franchises. Didn't really appeal to me, and I said, I'm gonna go independent, I'm gonna do my own thing. And that's what I did. And the reason I did that was mostly because I wanted to give the opportunity to agents, so that way they could do the same thing that I'm doing and grow 10 times faster. Use the platform, go 10 times faster, so they can start their own brokerage. I'll be their partner, or I'll be in the back end as a coach. And starting from 5 years ago to this point, doing it on my own. And then when David came around and said, hey, look at this platform, I'm like, David, not really, not this time, come on. But he's like, okay, not for me, not for you, but for me, look at it, because I'm thinking about jumping. And I started, I don't know if David knows how I am. I started really researching about the property. Regarding the company. I mean, I looked at every videos. I went backward and forward. I looked at the numbers. I said, how does this make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? And then when we went to the leadership mastermind, it kind of really opened my eyes. And why? One, because the stories that I heard from other brokerages out there, they couldn't leave a legacy because it was all dependent on them. And with this company too as well, it's like, hey, everything's dependent on me. That's it. If I go on vacation for 2 months or 2 weeks, we're still gonna do production, but obviously you're gonna have the leader there. And if something does happen to me, my wife is not gonna know how to run this company as well. But I was building this company for them in the long run. So as I looked at this and I seen the platform for eXp, and it was just amazing, right? The platform actually aligned with my purpose, what I was trying to do. It aligned with what my outcome was. I have a vision board, and it says 13 teams powered by actually New York Real Estate Experts, right? Everybody's gonna have their 13 teams in different locations. And I'm like, and I sat back, and when I looked at the platform, and I was like, wow, everybody in this platform could have the power from eXp, where they could be the best agent that they are, even if you're a new agent. And on top of that, as team members as well, they could take their production and they could double their production with actually less cost and less expensive. And when I actually jumped in completely and I seen the back end of this, I was just completely blown away. I'm like, we made the right move. And the right move was, hey, listen, I don't have to be just confined to New York. I'm thinking about Connecticut. I'm thinking about Long Island, creating a team there. And I don't need to have the brick and mortar for that. And on top of that, the best part about this is that, we have a lot of new agents that are coming in. They could have the trainings, they could have the tools, right? And they can have a system in the back end tomorrow if they want to go on their own with a commission structure that's really favorable to them. And on top of that, create their own mini brokerage and a legacy for their family. So, 20 years ago, we didn't have this, right? This is what, 9 years ago right now? If somebody told me about this 20 years ago and really, and I got into it, I'll be in a whole different platform. And I think that I'm looking 20 years ahead right now. And I'm looking not just for me, for the agents that I have. When I talk to an agent right now, they're like, I don't see it. I said, I get it. But you have to understand that you have to leave a legacy. And you have to leave a legacy for your family. You have to have the right tools to, put yourself in a position for winning all the time. You got to have the right trainings. And talk about trainings for a second. In this, I do a lot of trainings. I spent $30,000 for, my training coach last year. And even now, I always develop myself. But right now, when you go onto the cloud, you're actually having the best agent train you. Not somebody who's just sitting back and did 3 deals or 4 deals and you're in a classroom. These are agents that are doing massive amount of deals and they're trying to teach you exactly what to do in this industry. And I love that because I don't have to hire a coach. I don't have to have somebody behind me always have to pay and all they want to know is your numbers, right? I mean, David, when we left coaching, we were just accountable for each other from the very beginning and our numbers rose up again. Same thing over here. I have accountability, not with just David, Rich is there. We have other uplines too as well. They're there for us. They say, hey, Remy, what are you doing? You're slacking off. What's happening? This is what was going to take us to the next level too as well. And, we just, eXp is just a beautiful thing. Now I got agents around the country just supporting me and helping me, even people who are not in my office. They're calling me up. Hey, when do we get together? What do we do? How can I sell your listings? I had an email yesterday. Hey, I want to help you sell your listings. So again, together we could even do more and we all have a benefit. Not just one avenue of doing real estate, you have actually 3 avenues. And with that 3 avenues is where, you get stock options, okay? You also get revenue share, not profit share, but revenue share from the top. And that's real money. So, but most importantly, it's actually really about the agents. I mean, I've seen the light in all the agents go up like, wow, we have a CRM that we're paying for a lot of money. It's almost absolutely free. We have, a transaction system in the back end, which is basically free, in my opinion. We have training from the top agents and a brokerage and a technology company in the back end that's helping you resolve any kind of issue so you don't have to wait for it. So that really helped me propel forward, David. I mean, it was a hard decision. It wasn't easy, letting go in the very beginning because, you're there. And but I'm like, okay, you know what? This is the right move. This is the move for the future. And I think that anybody that looks at it, don't just sit back and say, hey, not for me. Give yourself the opportunity to study it. And if you don't understand, reach out to someone. Reach out to someone that understands it because, in my opinion, I think even in the beginning when I spoke to Rich, I mean, he understood it completely. And that kind of clicked. That inner voice said, oh, this makes a lot of sense. So
you got to think about it, Romy. Not everybody has that inertia that we have to grow and upgrade their lives. So the initial response is everything's fine. But really, unless your retirement is already settled for you, unless you're making residual income, unless your team is compounding, unless you're part owner of the brokerage that you're at and that brokerage is growing, things aren't fine. And at eXp, we can check all those boxes. And it's funny to watch the people have that Eureka moment, like I watched David have, and I sort of witnessed you, Romy, in our conversations throughout. There's a moment where you go from thinking, wow, this is interesting, to thinking, I can't go on knowing that this exists and pretend that I don't know that this exists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think it's changing the industry. It's a different model. It's not the same models out there. It's one brokerage, and basically we are the brokerage, and we are part of that. And we could align ourselves to something really great that's happening in the future, and you can't just ignore it. I think that ignoring it is not the right thing to do. At least learn about it and say, hey, I know what's happening, and either you're with us or and you're gonna come along and you're gonna experience what we're experiencing together, right?
One of the things that I've noticed over the last probably 3 or 4 months is I'll ask an agent, hey, has anybody talked to you about eXp? Have you seen what's going on? Have you seen the explosive growth? Have you seen, the top 4 people in your office leave and go to eXp? Isn't that interesting to you? And they're like, oh yeah, I've had people talk to me about it. I understand. And it's so funny because I'm the guy that I always ask, I'm like that Columbo. I always ask one more question, right? So what I always say to them is, oh really? Tell me about it. Tell me what you know about eXp. Okay, so let me stop you there. So
Right.
you don't know about it. It's okay.
Yep.
But I believe that you need to learn about it. Are you a business owner?
Yep.
Are you an entrepreneur?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, you learn about it. Then if you tell me, I know, and I believe that you know everything about it, like Rummy, if I would have talked to Rummy about this and he would have said, and I'm joining, and he didn't, I would have had respect for that, as long as I knew that he knew everything about it and he chose to do it. Out there that are saying no to something they don't understand.
Yeah.
So if you're watching this, I'm telling you, just research it. You don't have to call somebody. Just go online, and there's 150 million videos out there. But then call one of us and let us talk you through it, because there's a lot of information out there, and I'm telling you, it's a lot to understand. Talk to one of us. Really understand it to decide whether it's something that could help you in your business.
Yeah, and I want to add to that, right? I mean, I got the same exact experience too as well, because we are so fresh in New York, and now I've seen some teams joining, and people are gonna start expanding, and more people are gonna know about it. The first thing that I get is, a lot of people call me. I'm like, what? Did they explain anything to you? Do you understand this? Because understanding something and somebody just, about it is different. And I'll tell you my experience, right? It's about, when you have a new platform coming or CRM, remember those back in the days? The CRM that were out there, you would just dig into it. Oh my God, boom, time's out. What does it do? How does it do this? What happens? That's what I was. I was curious. And I was like, yeah, this is going to work. Let's jump into it regardless. And I think you have to have the same attitude with this one too as well. Have the same exact attitude. What is this? What are they talking about? Why is it only one brokerage? Why is it cloud brokerage? Like just little things like that, and it will take you a long way. And if it's not for you, great. It's not. We understand. We're still going to do business. But if it is for you, want to learn a little bit more, give us a call, and we'll help you. We'll help you understand it first. With my listings and with my buyer's presentation, I said, we want to educate you. Forget about listing your property. We want to educate you first. When you're educated, then you can make a wise decision. If you're not educated, then obviously I'm going to have a harder sale to make. So having said that, guys,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, couldn't be better said. The last thing I would say here, just to wrap up, is when you get agents like Rummy and David and myself and many other agents that are at eXp in their respective states, and we're having a cup of coffee, it's not uncommon to see $600–700 million of producers at a table of 7 or 8. So this is the first time in my career, and I've been doing this for 20 years, where I am at the table with the elite agents and elite owners, and we are all finally on the same team. It kind of feels like an all-star game, guys.
Yep.
So we're happy to have you there. I'm
It is
part of it.
I tell you, I sell predominantly in a smaller county just outside of Mecklenburg County, and it is unbelievably awesome to be a small fish in a big pond when we get together with these eXp agents.
Yeah.
It's 148 transactions here. We're going to sell probably about 180 transactions this year. And it's awesome to be at a table of 10 people and be the person that's in 8th place.
Yeah.
David, I went to the eXp convention, first convention I've ever been to in my life, because I'm not big into flying out for conventions. Yeah. And it was the first convention I had ever been to in my life, and also the first sales awards where I didn't make it on stage. So, it's actually a good feeling. We're on a faster track, which is going to propel me forward, and it has already, and it's been great. And I enjoy running at this 85 miles an hour more than I did at 45.
Yep. Exactly.
So, thank you guys for joining us.
Rich, real quick, I know I've told you this before, but man, I appreciate you you hounded me because I really believe this is going to not only change my life, my family's life, but it's going to change the people, my agents that work for me directly, that I care a ton about. Yes. I think it's going to change their lives as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'm excited. Take care.
See y'all.
All right.